Welcome to the FNO InsureTech podcast, a place where movers and shakers from all points within the insurance ecosystem gather and discuss all things InsureTech. Here are your hosts, Lee Boyd and Rob Beller.
Hey, podcast world, welcome to another spectacular. Did I go a little too far there? I don't think so.
You jumped right out there, man.
You know what? I'm throwing it down. Spectacular episode of FNO InsureTech. He's Lee Boyd. He's been a co-host here since the beginning. I'm Rob Beller. I've been a co-host here since the beginning.
Yeah.
Just a couple of old podcast guys doing podcasts.
Man,
Isn't it funny how what a big deal podcasts are now?
You know, sometimes they go in waves. Sometimes I'm like, hey, does anybody still listen to these things? And then I hear about the Kelsey's podcast that might be sold for, like $100 million or something.
Honestly?
Like that. Yeah, I can't say where I heard it. My wife told me that she heard it somewhere, but Amazon was going to buy their podcast. So yeah, they're still pretty popular.
Well, I heard that the podcast that has three guys, Jason Bateman.
Oh yeah, that one.
Ron Hayes and
Batman.
Who's the third one?
Well,
anyways, those three guys, they sold their podcast for $80 million.
Yeah. Yeah. They sold to Amazon too, I believe, right?
I believe you're right. I believe that's correct.
And I don't listen to that one much anymore. I listened to it at the beginning. It was fantastic, and it's still fantastic. In fact, the other day they had two or three one current president, and then one or two ex-presidents. Yeah, they had Obama, Clinton, and Biden all on their podcast. Wow, that's a big podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I get emails from Amazon as well. There's just two differences. One is they're asking me how my experience was buying whatever I bought last week. And they're not asking,
they're wanting you to spend. They're wanting you to buy versus them buying. But I will tell you that podcast is entertaining. On trips, I'll listen. I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but they're funny guys. They're funny guys, and I laugh about them. In fact, some of their little quotes still come back in my head. I still laugh about.
I mean, I remember when we started, I was worried about the two other InsureTech podcasts that I could find that even talked a little bit about them. A little bit. One is gone. The other is Insurance Nerds, was here before us, still around. It's a big thing. Everybody has a podcast.
Everyone has a podcast, but they don't all stay.
No.
Think of all the podcasts who have attempted to come into our little bitty space, and they did one or two or three, and then they were gone.
More than we can keep track. And just truth be told, Lee and I, whenever it's time for us to do a new episode of podcast, we're always super excited and never distracted.
Never distracted.
Always
we're in it. We're in it.
That's right. You get the best of us
at all times.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Is that a slight exaggeration?
Well, I mean, you don't even have a microphone in front of you right now. You are so prepared that your microphone is in a different room. But we're always prepared, and we're always bringing our A game.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Speaking of podcasts, my wife has a doctor's appointment online.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, let's just be honest.
Podcast.
The world has changed, and podcasts. I mean, it's just amazing to me. I was watching the TV show Hacks.
Yeah.
HACKS. Which is very funny. I enjoy it. And there's a podcast attached to it. Did you like the episode? Listen to all the insights and more information on our podcast.
How interesting.
Isn't that interesting? So maybe we need to do a television show.
We should. That's the next logical thing is to do. I'm sure it would get a lot of.
And would it be like a late night talk show, or what would
I was thinking more like one of those Modern Family drama things that's like, following around InsureTechs. And like we go in and it's like scripted, but it's not supposed to be scripted.
So quasi-reality
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
because I'm so old, we could call it the golden InsureTech.
The golden InsureTech. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's a idea. I think that's an idea we could
And not a very good one.
throw it out there and just see. Man, I'm
Oh,
not
my.
gonna knock it down on air, but
Well, I will say that we have a podcast. We have an episode for you today
I hope so.
that when we were done, both Lee and I looked at each other and said, that was fabulous. That was a great podcast with a brilliant guy. I mean, one of the things that we wanted when we started this was to bring, all these brilliant people from insurance and from InsureTech, both, into the spotlight. And this is an example of a brilliant, thoughtful person coming forward and working at InsureTech. We have Sivan Iram, the co-founder and CEO of Flow Specialty, with us today.
Yeah, and he comes on and tells us all about Flow, and Flow is it's a company that is bringing insurance, wholesale insurance together. It's a digital broker, but it's different than others that we've had on. A lot of times we bring on digital brokers, and they talk all about the APIs they're building and the AI.
Right.
They are really focusing on the people, right? They have all the technology, this amazing technology, but they also have the people who can deliver the white glove service that agents and that they're needing.
Right.
So we get to hear all about that today.
Right.
Fascinating company, but fascinating guy that we get to talk to today.
And sometimes, not always at all, but sometimes you can get a sense of how the industry thinks about a company by who is on their panel of investors.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
And Flow has, a very interesting panel, including Munich Re. I mean, Munich Re, one of the most interesting high-level companies in insurance, period.
Yeah.
And they're a substantial backer. And so we invite you to listen to this one. You're going to like it. And listen for our upcoming television show.
That's right.
Which, as soon as we figure out what it's going to be about, we'll make sure that we let you know.
I'm excited.
So, without further ado, let's get to our episode with the CEO and co-founder of Flow Specialty, Sivan Iram. Hey, everybody. We are here with our guest today from
Mountain View,
California, Silicon Valley. Yeah, the heart of Silicon Valley. We have Sivan Iram with us today. I hope I did okay with that. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. You did better than most.
Okay, well,
not great, but better than most. Good job.
Okay. Bro. Well, I probably did better than Lee would have done.
You did 100% better than I would have.
Okay, so as long as I get that, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So you are the CEO and co-founder of Flow, previously known as Capitola.
Correct.
Very recent change. Tell us that story.
Yeah, we started a journey back in 2021 as Capitola. Few reasons to choosing that name. The notion of long-term vision of bringing capital partners into the specialized insurance space. As years passed, as we started to find our true DNA, true identity, developing the vision of number one, improving the business flow with specialty insurance. But more than that is, to me, the vision of developing the internal culture and the services, the offering that would put our stakeholders, not only our internal employees, our brokers, but also our clients, our partners, to put them in a state of flow. To me, this notion of enjoyment from work, losing sense of time, doing things at ease, being in the zone, so to speak, to me is just a great vision to, an aspiration to strive toward. So the name flow really fits, not only from tactically wanting to, the mission of the company, but also aspirationally, what we want to do for our own employees and stakeholders.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's cool. We don't usually have such deep thought go into people's names. It's usually, something like "Give me your money." So,
well, I think just understanding our role, not only with the value chain, but also as an employer, as a business partner.
yes,
And I do think that the story matters, right? And we want to tell kind of the right one.
totally. So let's talk a little bit about flow. Um, give us a minute on what you guys are and what you guys do. And I know that we found you because you're very well thought of out in the InsureTech community, and so we're excited to have you here. I should start by saying, but let our audience know about Flow and what you all do.
Absolutely. So Flow is a specialty brokerage, a wholesale brokerage, um, digitally native, but still the kind of taking the role of bringing expertise in market access to retail agents. We focus on professional lines, management liability, D&O, EPLI, fiduciary crime, professional liability, whether it's a broad gamut, whether it's architects and engineers, lawyers, insurance agents, medical malpractice, and more. And then cyber as well. So kind of what people refer to as financial lines, professional lines, is what we specialize in. What we know is that um, agents rely on wholesale brokers for expertise in market access with unique risks. But we also know that the biggest frustrations they have is just unresponsive wholesale brokers. People refer to that as the black hole. You send out an email, you don't hear back. There is a new generation of wholesalers, I guess, who basically have portals set up where agents can go and submit business. But then it takes you 15, 20, 25 minutes to fill out these applications. On the other side of it, you can get a declination. So it's wasted time. What we try to do is to bring the best of both worlds. On one, to really be a great partner for agents. They can submit business through emails, very, very simple. But from that point on, we take on through a combination of a journey that is both digitally enabled. So we have APIs where we can connect to some of our carrier partners who support that. And also we can go to markets through the old, more traditional means, but we do the work for the agents. We don't require them to jump through hoops to get the best options, the best quotes. But we do send them acknowledgments. We do send them, additional information, richness of analysis and insights and recommendations of what coverage should their clients buy, on what markets we should try and approach, and what is a good indication for a benchmark price quote, and so on. So really kind of the entire journey is a combination of best-in-class experts that we have as brokers with really strong innovation internally that allows us to go to the right markets in the fastest way and provide the best type of coverage, even if it's mid-market, even if it's small commercial. The challenge we found, the segment we identified as being underserved, is that anything below that $50,000, $40,000 mark is just getting bad service from wholesale. The reason is it's just not profitable for them.
Right.
So what we do is we use technology to better serve agents in that segment.
So in a market where wholesalers are moving more towards a complete digital footprint, you're saying, hey, we want to put that human aspect back in. We think that human side belongs here and can't be, we can't go without it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly right. The two ends of the spectrum today are, on one side, you have incumbents. You have those large wholesalers who truly bring value on the very large enterprise accounts. The entire operation there is human driven. It's manual. The systems they use is really archaic. And so from an expertise, obviously they have strong experts. but it also means that the premium threshold for an account to be profitable is really, really high. The other side of the spectrum is, tech companies who try to come in and disrupt and completely remove the human element from it. We believe that the magic in life, as it is in business with nature, is balance. How do you make sure that brokers work on what we're supposed to, and technology and AI can never do, and that is, service their clients better. It is making a recommendation and insight. It is negotiating with markets the right way. That can never and should never be replaced. But also, how do we complement that with optimizing workflows, going to markets the fastest, best way, removing repetitive tasks and manual entry. And the combination, those two things, we really see the DNA of our company is the yin and yang. One being insurance, knowledge and expertise, human-driven insurance, knowledge and expertise, and the other one being best-in-class innovation and technology, fused together, working together at the cellular level to outperform and to better service our clients.
So you are working with a number of carriers offering their product?
Correct. We are completely open brokerage. We have today close to 35 different carriers that we work with across those 3 different main lines of business that I mentioned, benefit liability, professional liability, and cyber. We are looking to build our carrier network. But one of the core beliefs we have in the value that we bring to our carrier partners is a very focused approach. We don't want to spray and pray, the shotgun to go everywhere, thus hurting their own quote-to-bind ratio. At the end of every year, I don't want to look back at the book and only see it growing. I also want our carrier partners to see us as just a source of very highly qualified, highly curated deal flow that results in one of the best performing quote-to-bind ratio sources that they have.
So you actually have 2 customers, right? You have the carriers that you want to bring good quality to, and you have the agents and the individuals looking for a product. Is that difficult to balance those 2?
There's definitely relationship management there. One of the best news is that it's not transactional to say, when an individual buys a home, that's a single purchase and you're never going to see that person again. So you have the incentive to maximize value on that interaction. That's not true in business making, especially as you're building long-lasting relationships. So is there a little bit of relationship management? Absolutely. I will say that what we're trying to do is the main client here at the end of the day is the insured. As brokers, we represent the insured. We have a fiduciary duty to do so, and it's smart business making to do so. What we believe is we best serve our carrier partners by curating and being this traffic cop that directs traffic in the best way. If we're able to deeply understand risk appetite and we're able to send the right submissions, we're doing them a huge service by not sending them submissions outside their appetite.
By not wasting their time.
Not wasting their time. That's what they want.
If they get an application, they want to underwrite it, right? I mean,
exactly right.
They want to bind it. They don't want to reject it.
Exactly, and they need to be competitive, and they need from their coverage standpoint, from price standpoint. But it's not a transactional. Let's try to reduce the cost as much as we can. When we make a recommendation to our clients, there's lots of things that we take in consideration. Sometimes paying more for broader coverage makes more sense. So what we do is we employ a combination of experts, but also we use Gen AI to understand what is the risk appetite for each carrier, and how do we make a recommendation to our own brokers to send business where business needs to go.
So that when an application comes in and there's a specific need within that application, you all or your technology knows it should go to carrier A, not carrier D, because carrier A has that particular appetite or
Correct.
underwriting.
So you're 100% right. But I will say
you don't take that application and send it to everybody.
Exactly.
It goes more specifically to high probability underwriting.
That's exactly right. But it doesn't happen automatically. It's not as if there's an AI algorithm that decides that. There's a person that is advised by their own expertise and experience, but also is complemented by what we call a co-pilot, which is this powerful risk appetite engine that makes sure that the broker knows of all the carriers within our network that like that type of business, and we make a recommendation. We don't prevent our brokers going anywhere, but we basically complement experience with knowledge. And we take these indications on risk appetite from all sorts of sources. We could talk about our risk appetite matching model, but the core value that our brokers get is they're really best advised to go to all the right markets and not just, only a handful of them.
And that's the thing. If you come to the Beller brokerage and you're looking for a policy in one of the lines that you cover, I only want to use your application process if there's a high probability that it's going to that they're going to bind it, and that they have an appetite for it, and that it's fast and easy, right? If it's painful, long, then I'm going to look to the next company, your competitor, right? Who is saying, "Hey, I'm faster, I'm more accurate." Are those the key points that the broker wants?
Yeah, at the end of the day, the agent wants to bind. They want to service the account. Very often, there are many different lines of business they need to serve the client for. It's not just D&O or not just BOP or cyber. There's property. There's other casualty lines in it. Sometimes they work with us on one of them. They need to know they have a partner that they can trust to not only be timely with responses, but be thorough and have access to the right market. And the reality is that if that is on a $12,000 policy, they might not hear back from their wholesale partners for 2 weeks before they say, okay, we'll look at it, or it's been given to somebody junior. With us, we always promise a response within 1 hour. You get a response, not only with can we place it for you, but also if there's any documentation that's missing from the application that would help expedite it. We always note it. We note what markets we intend on going based on risk appetite matching. And there's any materials that we can send over to be shared with the insured, we do that as well. And we always provide a proactive approach to making sure that people know we're working on it and the progress we have. If the line of business fits the risk appetite, they could go through API to our carrier partners. Today, we have 20 carrier partners who have API connectivity. Then the quotes back can be sent within half a day even. So we can close the loop faster. And when you can close the loop faster, you can handle more business for your insured. And that's what agents want to know. They want to know that they have a trusted partner that's working on it. Again, giving them the best insights, the best analysis, the best recommendations, and access to the right market.
So it's one of the hardest things here, because I know you have brilliant technologists. Several of your co-founders are brilliant technologists. So finding a brilliant technologist, check. You've already done that. But finding brokers who say, sure, I'll try it, has got to be very hard.
Well, there's two things to it. Number one, when we're building our company, one of the main points is really that yin and yang combination of insurance expertise and technological expertise infused on the molecular level. And that means bringing the right talent in, the right experts, knowledgeable people, experienced people who have not only relationships, but again, great perspective and understanding of the coverage lines and our role as advisors in it. So building the right organization matters a lot. But when we reach out and want to work with the right clients, with the right agents and brokers out there, yes, it takes a little bit of foresight. The good news is we're not asking them to change anything in the way that they do business. It all takes a few submissions to test it out and see the difference in responsiveness and richness of responses and access to the right markets. So at the end of the day, the risk is really low for people to work with us. We're not asking them to get trained on any software. We're not asking them to log into any portals. Send us business the old-fashioned way and see how we can deliver for you. For Flow, you guys remember the old Intel Inside kind of wave in the 90s, all through the 2000s. For us, technology is inside. AI is inside. It's under the hood. You don't need to deal with it. You don't need to interact with any technology. Send us the business and we'll take it from there. We'll execute for you in the best possible manner.
I was looking at your website and it looks as though you're advertising more about people than technology. And I mean, there's a lot of information on technology, but people are at the core.
Absolutely.
And I think before this interview, me and Rob were talking, we were thinking, oh, it's a wholesale broker based on this technology, but that's not what you want to be known for. It doesn't sound like. It wants to sound like you're technology enabled, a people company, technology enabled. Am I right with that?
Absolutely. The reason is that people should not be removed from the business. It's a bad business decision to try and automate and disintermediate the humans in it. I think that a better approach to building the right type of wholesale is to understand what people bring to the table, and people are the only ones who can do it, and where technology can help that. I truly believe my entire career in empowering people rather displacing, right? So when we think about what can this do, this can really just optimize the way that people and tech work together to deliver. At the end of the day, we are a wholesale broker. That means we provide advisory services. We provide connectivity to the right market. We do operate in a very technological manner under the hood, but this all to deliver better service for our clients.
And so founded and co-founded, right, in 2021. I mean, how's it going? I mean, over the past 3 years, are we selling policies now?
Yeah, so we're selling policies. It's going great, really growing fast. We are a VC-backed company. We are very fortunate. Our Series Seed round was given to us, was led by one of the best VCs in the world, Lightspeed Ventures. We build a product, build a team, a go-to-market approach, started getting traction, which really kind of started a Series A round that was concluded exactly a year ago in April, just over a year ago in April of 2023. That was led by Munich Re Ventures. They've been a phenomenal partner for us because as the largest reinsurance company, all of their clients are relevant partners to us. So we've been able to grow a very strong presence with carriers. Even though we're a young wholesaler, we have great markets to work with and to represent. And at the end of the day, as good as your technology can be, we are distributing insurance products, and it needs to be from the best sources out there. So we've been able to really strike partnerships with some of the best carriers out there. You can see some of the logos on our website, and we're excited because it really resonates. What we bring to the table, the opportunity to have a laser focused approach when it comes to marketing, when it comes to submitting business, doing it in a highly curated. We really work hard to have more complete submissions as we send them. That really resonated with our carrier partners.
So what surprised you when you got into business? Whenever you started this back in 2021 and you moved through, was there learning opportunity for you? Was there something that you thought, oh, I didn't think about that, or that was a hurdle I had to overcome? What surprised you in this industry?
It's a great question. There's so many different things on a personal level and on a business level. On a personal level, I would say that I'm going to compare not necessarily by the time when we got started to now, but before I got started and to now. Is I was admittedly, if you were to ask me 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't think that I would find myself in insurance. You know how people say they find themselves. I find that you're either born in it or you find yourself in it. Even though nowadays there's some really good programs, so sometimes people choose to go in, but I didn't think that I would find myself in it, and I held a pretty cynical view of the industry, and that seriously changed as I started the company and we started being in business. I saw the vitality of insurance to having a strong economy, enabling entrepreneurial endeavors. It's on our website for a reason, because that's probably the biggest transformation that I've went through, is understanding how important the industry is. And I know that it's self-deprecating at times. And I know that people say we're brokers because we couldn't be lawyers. I know all that is fine. I think there's room for all those jokes. But I think people know. That's what I've found working with agents, speaking to the competition, working with carriers. At the core, people know how important this industry is. And there's definitely a much greater mission, I think, for us as an industry. So that personally has probably been the biggest change and evolution in my thinking. One of the things that surprised me most is just how small the industry is.
Oh, yeah.
Massive industry.
For how big it is, so it's very small.
But it's so small. Exactly. That dynamic of, you can really, I think it's really empowering for entrepreneurs, because with the right approach and the right people, you can really get far quickly. When you have friends who build horizontal businesses, and they can approach law firms as well as accounting firms, as well as factories. They build, software that can find itself in various ways. And there's like, it's really challenging to think through those things. I think for us as entrepreneurs, as long as you build something that matters to people, I think the ability to spread the word and be known is really right.
So what industry did you come from prior to Capitola?
Yeah, I started my career on the software side. I'm a software engineer. I did that for 6 or 7 years. I'm more of a people's person. I started to gravitate towards the business side of technology. So I decided to kind of establish a strong foundation in business. I came to the country 12 years ago to get my MBA degree. And right after that, moved to California. I got back into the private sector, various size tech companies. Now on the business side of things, I was always client facing. So sales positions, partnership positions, BD positions. And the common thread for me has been digital transformation. How do we bring innovation to traditional industries? I've done a lot of work with supply chain companies, manufacturing companies, energy, automotive. So I've built my own playbook to moving between industries. And so wanting to build a company, I wasn't really biased as to what industry it would be. And it was much more about finding an opportunity, a pain point or an opportunity where technology can really move the needle on, right? And you want that to be in a big and growing space. So insurance was really perfect for that.
Yeah, you've said a couple of things that I just want to touch on before we move on, and that is that I think one of the exciting things that's happening in insurance today, and one of the things that InsureTech has really helped with, is bringing in many clever, creative, bright people like yourselves to an industry that, like you said, has been self-deprecating forever. It's like an industry you accidentally end up in. But what's happening is that it's becoming cool, right? Because there's nothing old in its essence, nothing old, stodgy, or boring about it. It's critical. It's so important. And there's so many ways that it's built and so many ways to cut the insurance pie, that there's all kinds of interesting things going on with it. And like you said, the opportunity as a corollary, the opportunity for digital transformation it has been and continues to be enormous. Right?
Absolutely. And not only that, I think the business opportunity is there to really be impactful and create value. But from a human level, I think there's two key reasons why I think it's just a great industry to be in. Number one, it's people driven. And that is, if you're like that, it's just absolutely fun. The opportunity to build relationships, meaningful relationships that can last a lifetime is absolutely there. It's not transactional. Your calling card is, your word at the end of the day. And that is, to me, just an opportunity for people who are like that and think like that. And then it's also, there's an opportunity to build true expertise, which is just, it feels like it's not there anymore. It's almost of the old world where you can really dive deep, become an expert in your field, and to be something to be proud of. And those two things together, I think, just a phenomenal opportunity. It's not sexy, perhaps, but I think, it's okay for your 20s, but I think the opportunity to go into an industry that is long lasting, that is human driven, that has this element of expertise. It's just
great career arc. And the other thing is Munich Re. I think that's that to get an investment. Did they lead that series?
They did.
So for them to lead a round, I don't care what round it is an amazing validation of your concept. Because look, anybody would want Munich Re's money, because what comes along with it, I would think, is tremendous opportunities in contacts in business and whatnot. I mean, an honest spark plug to get things to get the business rolling. And so, what is it that Munich Re saw that made them say, "This is the one. This is what we're doing here"?
I think number one, there was a very long journey of relationship building with them. They were in the conversation in our seed stage. We ended up going with Lightspeed on that one, but you continue the conversation. We continue the relationship building, and I think when you do that with an investor, they're much more confident to come in when the time is right, and you're much more confident in bringing them in because you know who you're getting. It's one of the things that entrepreneurs, you don't really think about, especially in a market dynamic. I'm not even talking about, 2020 and 2021 when very cheap money and you saw valuation skyrocket. But 2022, 2023, where we ended up actually in April 23, concluding our Series A, it's tough from an entrepreneurial position to say, I want to be selective, but it's absolutely mandatory. And I've known the Munich Re folk for a long time through other people, other entrepreneurs, but also through the relationship that we've built. And, they were comfortable coming in. We were more than comfortable bringing them in. And the partnership, delivered in multitude. They've helped us build our carrier network, again, beyond our years, I would say, really help us accelerate our growth. And just really great people, great professionals. I think they saw an opportunity. They're not, I don't believe they've been invested in the brokerage space, and they saw the opportunity to bring technology, to bring not only automation and AI, but just a newer, thinner approach to doing business as an intermediary. And I think that's what kind of sparked that part.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's really neat. I want to go to the front part of your business, and that's interacting with the agents. So you want to get agents on your not network, but you want agents to use your service. Talk to us a little bit about that marketing strategy. How do you find these agents? What is it like working with them?
Yeah, and we work with agencies in various sizes, all the way from large national agencies all the way down to more regional agencies, and we take some business also from independents. There's different approaches for that. Some very large national agencies are actually working to minimize their wholesale partnerships. Mm-hmm. The good news is with some of them, we actually been able to break through and get on their shortlist, even though They're trying to consolidate because they do see we're bringing something different, not only from a service standpoint, but also from a product standpoint.
Good for
When you
you.
go further to, longer tail towards the small nationals or regional agencies, they do 100% rely for some of the lines of business on their wholesale partnerships for that expertise and additional market access. So that's been a very natural conversation to have. Also, sometimes regional agencies don't have the size and influence over some of the large wholesale incumbents to be able to pull in and be prioritized. So we fit in really, really well where agencies don't feel like they're being served the right way, like they're supposed to. And then all the way down to smaller independents. Sometimes you have relationships. You want to really be a formidable partner for some of those folks, and we'll be able to get some great business from them.
So we can't call it a day here until we talk about AI, because it's AI, right? And it was funny, over the weekend, we're recording this on a Monday, and over the weekend I was reading some news, and the number of AI articles and AI advertisements were incredible. It's like every technology ad that's out there now, they have to find a place to plug AI into it.
Yeah.
because they need everybody to know that we're on that.
It's the buzzword.
We're on that train too. Tell us how AI is important to your company, and why I'm sure you're spending time and energy on it.
Absolutely. I think the challenge in getting into the conversation is that because it's so buzzy and so trendy, I think people are still trying to make sense of it. And is it gonna blow by, or is it something real? And what is it really what do you mean when you say you do AI, right? So I'll try to make some sense of that in the way that we at Flow, we see the opportunity. I'll start by saying that I truly believe that it is a seismic change in the opportunity to deliver for clients. That's where we start as a company, is how can this help us deliver for our clients? How can this empower other stakeholders within the value chain to deliver for the clients? At the end of the day, it doesn't change what we do. AI is not what you do, it's how you do it. And when you build technology, you can choose different ways of doing something. I'll give you an example, a very localized, small example that I hope to generalize from. When you're trying to take let's say an application that was keyed in or that was handwritten, there's a few approaches you can use to try and digitize that, to structure that. You can scan it and use OCR. Or actually, you can just have someone type it in. That's probably the most manual, non-technological approach. But if you do want to try to automate it to a degree, then you scan it. We used to do that in the 90s and early 2000s. Let's just use OCR, so optic character recognition. What you can also do is you can use basic machine learning driven systems that can look at it, and you can train them with the format. And if somebody goes to the format and labels every field within you can try to automate that. So there's just 3 different ways of doing the same thing, which is basically structuring data. I want to generalize that and say AI is not what you do, is how you do it. So what are those things that AI gives us a better opportunity to do, whether it's cheaper, higher accuracy, a more scalable way? And also, more interestingly, perhaps, what are the things that AI allows us to do that we just couldn't do before, right? So to us, AI is a different way to think about digitizing knowledge and making it accessible to brokers to use. So for us, again, the approach is AI inside. So we're not exposing that in any way to our carrier partners, or there's nothing in our offering that's AI. We are a wholesale broker and we provide wholesale services. But the way that we do it is hugely driven by AI. And there's multiple things that we do. Number one is, and this is very bird's eye view, and I'm going to get down with some examples in a second. Bird's eye view is we do two core things. Is we optimize workflows with AI. A quick example would be we take an email submission, immediately extract the information from the body and the attachments, and we're able to summarize and do the analysis on the risk and decide what markets this should go to and decide what documents are missing and present that to the broker. So we've optimized the broker's workflow. Instead of them taking an hour to do all said work, they're able to be presented with the analysis of the submission, and they can vet it. They can say, well, and we can do the clearance also in an automated way. There are other ways of doing this, but this is just a better, more efficient way of doing it, a smarter way of doing it. So optimization of workflows. We're able to take in all the back and forth correspondence and bake that into some of our workflows. So when a quote comes in and then a binder comes in, if we're lucky enough to bind, and I'm happy to say we're lucky to bind often, we can do a comparison of the quote and binder to make sure there was no difference there, and we can present a summary of that analysis to the broker. Now, we never automatically conclude that it matches and we don't have a human go over it. But what we do is we optimize their workflow to empower them to do more and be faster and more responsive. So that's category one of what we do with AI. We just optimize workflows. The second thing we do is we build digital knowledge. We look at the information that's going back and forth. We look at past experiences and outside resources, and we develop an insurance advisor, so to speak, that's able to be there and make recommendations. Now, we can never replace the actual broker. We're not expecting it, and we would never actually, even from an E&O standpoint, would never replace the people. But to better advise them on what markets to go to, on, for example, if we get a declination from a carrier, we take that in, and next time a similar risk comes in, we denote it. We're not preventing of sending it to the market. We say, hey, you should know they've declined that business 7 times in the past 3 months. When you think about maybe this is just outside the risk appetite. So we continuously bake in the indications, the knowledge that we see from the process, and developing into this co-pilot feature that allows our broker to be advised and to have someone at their side.
So you're making you're creating in a laboratory. I'm thinking about Frankenstein. You're kind of inventing, creating, giving birth to this really smart advisor who can take in all of this experience, right? And be like on your right hand.
Exactly right.
And
it's
say
sitting
to
on
you,
your shoulder. Correct.
Right.
It's sitting on your
Let
shoulder.
you make the ultimate decision, let's say, but they can give you they can coalesce a bunch of information in a very specific way, and you're building that intelligence with time.
And the most important thing for me to say is that there's always a risk in technology to erode the human capability. And a good example would be when we're using Google Maps now, we forgot how to navigate because we're so reliant on it.
Mm-hmm.
That should never happen. So we treat our AI a little bit like a really smart intern that learns very, very fast. But you're never going to allow it to make the decision. Right. So what we ask our folks to be, and we're building this into our systems, is to provide feedback and to actually qualify the work that it does. So not only that it tells you what markets you should go to, our brokers are expected to give it feedback like you would with an intern. You say, well, you did a good job there, but you were actually wrong on this one. So next time...
You forgot about this, right. That's so exciting, and we're going to we're going to bring this to a close here, because if we keep going, we wouldn't have a reason to have you on for another episode.
My job can definitely be replaced by an AI. Here's your sound.
That's a great idea. We should probably interview an AI.
We probably should.
There's the scary thing is that they would ask better questions than we would, and
no doubt
we would be replaced by it. So
I think we're gaining a deep insight onto what people actually do better and should do, and where technology can help. And that is the main idea, is getting technology to help. That's always been my personal journey, is building technology that can help people do better.
That's cool. That's wonderful. And I'm sure a big part of why you guys have been successful. And we're very grateful for giving us your time and information today. We loved hearing about Flow. And I know I can speak for Lee and say that we interview a lot of people. This was a great one. So thanks.
Fantastic.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Great episode.
Nice to be here.
We don't always say that, sadly. And many of the times it's because of us. But you're a terrific guest, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Really interesting conversation. I appreciate being on.
That was very interesting.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of times you can tell. It's interesting. A lot of times you can tell a lot about a company, even without knowing anything about it, by who's behind it, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
By who's invested in it. And like, if you have Munich Re and Lightspeed, that's a lot of really smart, really educated insurance people that understand insurance, behind you.
Well, and I think if you look at the company, there's some really smart and educated people working at the company, right? It's not just a bootstrap company. They came together with an idea. They are trained. They have this unbelievable knowledge. I mean, he's built just a dream team of individuals to build this out. I'm very excited. Yeah. I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, very excited. And we really thank Sivan so much for being with us, and thank you for being with us. And big thanks to our producers and to Erin O and her new energy that she's brought to our podcast as well. So we will say to you, the most important part of our podcast, our listener, what we say to you every single time we've done this podcast, I think, and that is,
goodbye, everybody.